Oh my gosh, we're live.
Let's go.
Heck yeah. Amazing. Steaders, thanks for being here,
Evening,
man.
mate. Pleasure, as always, mate. Good to see you.
Evening for you, midday for me. I've got we've got the Canadian Finland Olympic hockey game going on here today. I'm taking a break from that. It's tied 2-2 going into the third period. This is big stuff right here.
I tell you, well, it sounds it. As long as you guys aren't going to cheat at the curling again, we're okay.
Curling gate. Oh
Crazy,
my gosh.
right?
I know.
Must have been bad for the Swedes to call you out. They don't say anything to anybody.
Wild. So why are we here? We are here because, let me flash the banner across the screen. Look at that. We've got a MetFix Foundations course coming up in Portsmouth, UK at Conscious Choice MetFix on May 28th, 29th. And we want to chat a little bit about it. We want to talk about the course, talk about, I think, talk about just MetFix in general.
Awesome.
Hype it up a little bit, and not just talk about the details of the actual course, but I think more lean into like some of the effects that that the course and MetFix has had on coaching and people's training. But before we dive in on that stuff, because I think it's appropriate to talk a bit about what you've got going on, Steaders, up in Scotland. Your MetFix affiliate is Ellipses MetFix.
Ellipsis. That's right.
Ellipsis. Yep. Ellipsis MetFix. And let me pull it up. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because it's like a multifaceted organization. You've got a lot of stuff going on with Ellipsis MetFix.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it started off originally as the barn, right? So just literally a way of us trying to connect to a wider community. You know, people could come up and train if they were in the area, etc. So we didn't really run it as a commercial entity for quite a time, till I was approached by a local lad called Stu, and he runs a local Woodlands, basically. So, and he approached me about training people in support of his veteran program. So kind of a twofold attack, really. He wanted to provide training for the local community, but in support of the veteran outreach program that he runs. He runs a program called Operation Cairngorms, which is the area we live in. And so that's what we started up doing. We started literally training people under a parachute in the trees, with basically a campfire in the middle. And we thought.
So wait, so you're not hanging from a parachute?
Well, you know, what goes around the campfire stays at the campfire, my friend. So, you know, different things happen at different times. But yeah, it was just under this suspended canopy, if you will, with a set of dumbbells, and we just wanted to teach people the basics of, you don't need all the gear, you just need a little bit of knowledge about some movements, and you're good to go. So we started that off one morning a week. That then moved to 2 to 3 to now 4, and we kind of had to cap it at 10 because you can't fit too many people around it. And we're approaching a year now, so we would have we started March 5th.
Oh, there you are.
We're approaching a full year, which is super cool. So yeah, we just started up with that, and it's been super popular ever since. So we're expanding soon to start. We're going to do a kids program during the holidays here as well. Which is going to be a super cool initiative, you know, teaching them the basics of movement, nutrition, helping them understand that minefield, if you will. I think we all need that help. So that's going to be a cool little addition. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, if I'm honest, like in terms of where we're at right now. But that's the history of the program. That's
really cool. I just love the whole idea of going, and I saw someone in the comments, 5 a.m. Squat Club. He's actually a local guy here, and nice. He owns a gym in the city, but he bought a farm way outside the city. He still owns his gym, but he does a lot of stuff at his farm, and he's got a little Instagram account every day, 5 a.m. Get up, do like some functional movement, CrossFit style routine.
Yeah.
But so he would love what you're doing. He would love the 6 a.m. campfire out in the woods,
That's a lion for him. 6 a.m. is a lion if he's up at 5. My goodness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. So he'd eat that up. I mean, so you've been in, this is a relatively, in terms of your coaching career, this is a relatively new endeavor, this whole project, this Ellipsis project, right?
100%. Yeah. If I'm being brutally honest, I was dragged kicking and screaming out of retirement, right? I'd lived that life for a long time. I'd been an affiliate owner since 2006, full time, up until I think 2017 when we sold up and we moved up to Scotland. So it had been our bread and butter, both myself and my wife, for multiple years. And I was kind of like, do I want to get back into I missed many elements of regular coaching.
Yeah.
I didn't really miss many elements of the gym ownership side, if I'm honest. So that was pretty cool. Getting back into it, I was like, well, we'll just see how it goes. And here we are.
This is really cool. Though they have like shooting adventure stuff too. There's like adventure getaways.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that's really cool.
We've got kind of a lot going on there that people can just kind of have a little look through and get involved with whenever they want. It's super cool.
That's amazing.
I mean, the dude who runs the Woodland, he's a bushcraft instructor by trade, so
right.
That's what most people know the Woodlands for at Knocky Hill is. He teaches kids and does these camps and outreach programs and has schools in, etc. So
that's so cool. And I remember you telling me when we first started doing these seminars, like this is going to be in Portsmouth coming up May 28, 29. That'll be like the 14th, I think. It feels like we've been doing 100 of them. But it does, yeah. I remember at the first one of your presentations was, self-admittedly, when you first started CrossFit, you knew that the nutrition was the base of the pyramid, but you maybe had applied it in the inverted position.
There's no maybe.
Right.
There was no maybe. Like, you're being polite. Like, I 100% inverted that pyramid.
So like speak to. I want to know what the biggest sort of change is from you, just from a practical standpoint. Like when you look at the way that you coached previously and the way that you coach now or implement nutrition practically, like how has that changed? Aside from just having a meal, a low carb meal on the website for people to do, right? Like, that's one step. We can put it on the website that you've got. I just showed your website. You've got the MetFix Daily Fix embedded onto the website so people can go there. And that's a huge change, right? Of having the meal front and center as like the main sort of practical piece that we're offering. And that's free every single day. You can go there and get that. And I'm impressed with how many affiliates, actually, as like a side note, a tangent here, I'm impressed with how many affiliates are taking advantage of that embedding. Like most people are putting it up on their site and having it there. It's really cool resource. Yeah.
Yeah. Even more so, I think people grabbing hold of that and creating, like the lists and the shopping lists and giving them out, and actually giving people the connection to the theory is huge, because I think we've done that from the physical perspective so much. We never have really on the nutrition side as effectively, I don't feel.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'll cut you off, buddy. You go.
And so, no, you can go on. I just want to know exactly where you see the major changes in your coaching. Like, you've been coaching for how long? You started off in CrossFit. When did you discover CrossFit?
2002.
Yeah. So, I mean, really long time. As long as anyone, aside from Greg Glassman himself or some of those early people, right?
Yeah, sorry, 2004. I'm like
2004.
Still early enough.
And so if you feel your coaching has changed because of MetFix, that's fairly significant in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it was the phrase I think which always lands in my head was, like the evolution of the revolution. Like, that's realistically but I also felt like it was the evolution of myself as a trainer as well, because I think it was finally admitting what I'd been ignoring for a while, that the nutritional aspect and the lifestyle piece was far more impactful than the physical piece. They're both really important, right? Like, as we kind of talk about on the MetFix course as well, on the foundations, is like, hey, nutrition is going to get you like 90% of the way, but you know, that last 10%, yeah, you've got to be picking stuff up and moving yourself and doing some things for the functionality and interaction in life. So I'm totally aware of that, but I was definitely, if I had the pyramid inverted, I definitely had that order of operations in the other way. You know, I was 90% movement, and that's where I probably spent most of my time. You know, I became the movement technician, if you will. You know, I'd spent most of my time trying to like get better at that, teaching, seeing, correcting, you know, running a class, timelines, making sure all of that was good to go. And I think I did pretty well there. Generally speaking, I was okay. Didn't find much of that tough to pick up. And I guess there was a degree of just sort of like, especially with seeing, I could just see good and bad movement. It wasn't something that I had to work a lot at. I kind of already had that as a gut instinct, I guess. So that was fun, but I only really got bullied into the nutrition side, if I'm honest, through getting beat by a buddy. You know, I'll be 100% honest. You know, it's like we started CrossFit at the same time, and he started pulling away, and I was like, damn it, you know, like must be the training. You know, I can catch him up, so I'm going to dig into the training side, and I'm going to look at, you know, what's the new sexy program. At the time, I can't even remember what it was. You know, it changes every 6 months anyway. You know, whatever sexy protocol it is.
Yeah.
And I was convinced it was the training, you know. And then he went, no, actually, I started doing that zone thing they talk about. That was, you know, that was the only real look into nutrition at that time that I'd done. And I was like, nah, I'll do it for a bit though, just to prove him wrong. And my word, the change in me as a human being and performance wise, which was my main goal at the time, was huge, you know, and that certainly turned my mind more onto that side. And then through the years, I just realized that there was more impactful change to be made there, you know, not through taking, you know, a 5-minute Fran time, as we well know, is still great, but not taking a 5-minute to a 3-minute, you know, that's where most people would spend a lot of their lives. It was actually just making people capable of going through a larger range of motion, getting them off meds, you know, like that first pull up that they've never done before, you know, unsupported air squat, unsupported lunge. Let's be honest, you know, like there was more air punch moments for me as an individual and as a coach, and more opportunity to really make the impactful change, which matters in those worlds. And that was exactly what I saw more of, even though I had plenty of forays off into the competitive side of CrossFit, but in particular, it never really lit me up as much as those impactful changes. And so I think being able to attack those meaningful conversations, which I was avoiding because they were awkward, that was huge for me. Giving me the tools to do so, which MetFix definitely has done, which is great because, you know, I'm British, so we avoid awkward stuff at all costs. You know what I mean? It's like, just ignore it, stick your head in the sand, keep moving on, stiff upper lip, jive. So helping me with that was cool. But the knowledge piece as well, you know, digging in deeper, giving me the reasons why. I think a lot of us, for me in particular, it was very much like I knew the mission, and I was motivated by it, but I needed the in-depth knowledge to not use on a daily, but just to validate what I was doing.
That's where it starts, though, right? Is if you lack the knowledge, you can't take that the next step in the coaching.
Correct. Exactly.
Right?
And it's validated everything for me.
Yeah.
You know, like it's that is more important than the, you know, fizzing yourself into the ground. And don't get me wrong, you know, I used to be that guy too. If I've had a bad weekend, I'll make up for it on Monday by just smashing the life out of myself. You know, like I can totally out train bad decisions. And so I think those elements of that help me get off alcohol personally, help me you know, do many things which are of entirely good benefit for my life and my family, you know. So I want to pay that forwards. It's huge.
Krish, welcome.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi,
good to see you. Good to see you. Krish, I know you've got a coach soon, so we won't keep you too long. I want to just ask you a couple questions. What Carl was talking about with the pull-up, with this getting your first strict pull-up, like how does nutrition contribute to getting your first strict pull-up? We had a conversation about this after we were batting around the Spark program, sort of post hoc review. That reminded me of a comment that you made, and maybe we'll get to that. But first, I want to share my screen so I can highlight your affiliate. You've got, you are owner of MetFix Element 42.
Yeah.
Right? CrossFit Uckfield, MetFix Element 42, all under one roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is, hold on here. Where is this? Add to stage. There we go. That's it right there. Amazing. So Chris, you came to London, you did the seminar. You were a MetFix affiliate before you even attended the seminar. So
yeah.
What kind of crazy person signs up for affiliation without even knowing what the heck's going on?
Well, I spoke to Carl.
Right.
I had a call with Carl, and he told me all the stuff, and it just sounded like what the missing piece, like what Carl was saying. We got the exercise, we got the coaching, we've got a great community, and I was really avoiding talking to people about nutrition. If people approached me about nutrition, then I would give them nutrition support, but I felt very uncomfortable bringing it up, so I never did. And then talking to Carl about what was going on with MetFix, I was like, that just sounds like what I need to give people in the gym literally everything they need under one roof.
How long you been open for?
11 years.
Amazing. So you got some experience. So it's kind of similar to what I was saying with Carl. It's like, even after all of that experience, and I mean, you probably can't even count how many people that you've had walk into your gym and you changed their life, that there's actually still something else that we can offer people and take it to another level, right?
Yeah.
Of changing lives and continuing to be even more impactful. Because I mean, every gym, every affiliate owner, there's always a handful of people that they're not seeing the results that you'd hope they see. And part of you's like, is it me? But part of you's also like, maybe it's them, because I feel I'm doing all the right things, But 100%, the nutrition piece it's untapped. I feel it's almost this like taboo thing to talk about, like religion or something, and partly I think because coaches have a really tough time talking about it intelligently and with empathy to their clients and to others. And when you can articulate exactly, well, even in your own head, if you can articulate exactly what might be going on with somebody, and then be sure of yourself to take that next step in their nutrition journey, coach them through that, scale it the way you would scale movement, give them a nutrition cue the way that you would tell them to drive their knees out. Like, you're confident that driving your knees out in the squat and getting below parallel is going to help them become better, right? And the reasons are all scientific, and it's about physics, and it's about kinesiology, and right. And so, but then when you take that step in the right direction with someone's meal, it's the same idea, and you have confidence in that cue.
Yeah.
And you might not be spilling all the beans, but you're in the back of your head, you've got the biology and the biochemistry. You're like, I know that this is going to be good for them.
And I think I think my members like additional bits of information about movement. They like to understand why I'm asking them to move a certain way, or why I'm asking them to do a particular exercise. And then it's the same with the nutrition. When you can give them that added bit of information, the science behind it, they're like, oh, okay, that's why you want me to eat like this. Right, I'm on board. And they buy into it much more easily when you can explain to them why.
I'll ask you the same question, Chris, that I asked Carl, from a practical standpoint. You've got this successful gym. You've got, if you will, divide it in your mind before MetFix or pre-MetFix and post-MetFix. What do you think is the biggest change in your community or your culture, or just the way that you're coaching? What's the biggest change that you notice, that like tangible feeling when you walk into the gym? Or even as an owner, when you're talking to your own coaches or your members, that the difference is made with the MetFix education and becoming an affiliate?
I think it's created a bit more honest, definitely more honesty, and more honest in conversations. Like you mentioned earlier about the pull-ups, somebody needs to lose 20 kilos. and they're asking me, I really want to get a pull-up, how am I going to do it? In the past, I would have gone, oh, just keep battling away, you'll get there one day, knowing that they wouldn't. Whereas now I'm like, okay, well, let's address your nutrition. It's going to make a difference if you're not wearing a weight vest. So I think we're having more honest conversations. I think it's fun to have something to get your teeth into. So all my coaches are following MetFix as well and delivering it. And so I think everyone's quite fired up with something new and exciting to get people more excited about training and explaining how this is buoying up their training as well. This is going to make a difference to everything. And then seeing these incredible results. So we've always got PBs in the gym. People get stronger, they get fitter, they get faster. You're measuring that all the time. And now we're measuring that their blood pressure's coming down. Now we're measuring that their blood sugar's coming down. They're not diabetic anymore. Now they've moved into pre-diabetic. You can literally measure that they're not just getting fitter, faster, stronger, but they're getting healthier as well. So yeah, it's changing everything.
That's amazing. That's huge. I know you got to go. You probably got a jet pretty soon to go coach, eh? So one more question, and then I'll let you go. What for those people thinking about signing up for the course this coming at the end of May? So that's just a little over a month away.
Mm-hmm.
What was one specific highlight that they can expect from the course that that was a little bit of a surprise to you when you attended? Like you're someone who's bought in ahead of time, right? So it's a unique perspective. Like it's almost as if some of the stuff you were expecting it to come, right? So what's the one thing you're like, oh man, that is freaking cool?
The people that were on the course, there was such a diverse type of person on the course. It wasn't just gym owners. There were so many different types of people. And I think, and the quality of the knowledge that was being given to us, it was really scientific. It was really in depth. And like I knew that in advance, but it kind of joined all the dots up for me. But there were so many people there who were super interested. I think that surprised me the most was the people, like there were doctors there and just all kinds of different people. So it's not just about bringing MetFix to gyms. It's about bringing MetFix to everyone. Psychiatrists, like talking about mental health as well, not just physical health. So it's sort of bigger than the gym. It's opened the doors. I mean, we've got a psychiatrist as one of our members, and she's totally on board with the MetFix, and we're talking about how we can change the mental health of our members and the mental health of people in our town. It's kind of exploded.
That's really
I think
cool.
It's really interesting what different types of people are interested in MetFix, not just gym owners and not just coaches.
That's amazing. I'm reading Chris Palmer's book for the first time, and a lot of that stuff that he goes through, I was aware of, but he explains it in such good detail. I don't know if you've read that book yet, but I highly recommend it.
Watched his videos.
You got it delivered today, Carl?
Yeah, literally just today. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Brain Energy by Dr. Chris Palmer.
Yeah.
It's a great balance of the science behind metabolism and mitochondria of the brain, and he does a great job breaking it down into digestible and easy to understand pieces along the way. He creates a great argument for his metabolic theory of brain disorders, which is exactly what you're talking about, right? So yeah, that's really, really cool. Well, Krish, I'm sure I'll see you on another UK affiliate call really soon. So, and all you guys out there who are thinking of becoming affiliates, why don't you just pitch that real quick, Carl? Why don't you just talk about like what we do on a regular basis with the affiliates in the UK and Europe?
Yeah, exactly. It was born out of just wanting to listen to people really, and try and get people together. I'm a big believer in you just need to put motivated people and point them in the right direction sometimes. So there was a lot of motivated characters, Krish being one, the boys at Portsmouth where we're going being the others. You know, there's so many of the really cool affiliate owners and trainers in the UK that we just wanted to get them chatting. If we could get them chatting, then ideas would just magically come. Any time that we do these calls, there's no agenda. Like, I genuinely start every single one by going, not really got much to chat about, team, but we always fill out an hour. Everybody's just giving their perspectives of whether it's going to be, you know, improvements at the gym or what they're trying to do, or more recently about their usage of the Spark program, the plug and play. So it's been super cool. You know, it's just born off of that. Then people are going, well, I'm going to go and do this then. And that sounds like a great idea. Or I'll take ownership of this and I'll go do this. And so it's been great. It appeases the lazy man in me where I'm like, well, that sounds good. You know, like, you can go, everyone else can go do the real hard work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's good for me from a mercenary point of view. But it's I think it's great. It just shows you the power of motivated characters, which I'd say are 99% of affiliate owners. And I mean, only because I can't really say 100% because it's like, you don't know. But it's such a high percentage of affiliate owners are motivated individuals, and they really want to help change, and they really want to be given permission to go to work, really. So that's what we're doing. You know, they'll pitch an idea and we'll be like, that sounds great, go ahead. You know, it's mad. I think some folk just need somebody to say, yeah, go ahead, and they'll be like, right, all right, that's all I needed, and I'm off. So that's basically what we do. Just get together and talk through initiatives, talk through ideas, how we can be of more use, learn from people like Vicky, you know, who's got such a great GP referral system in place just by having the courage to walk into a surgery, right, and be like, hey, I need to talk to whoever's in charge of, you know, getting funding for XYZ, and she met with a receptive audience, and off it went. You know, we're like, that sounds brilliant. Can you teach us all how you did that? And that becomes a working model as we move forwards, you know, and long may that continue with many of these things. So that's it in a nutshell, really.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Krish, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for popping on and giving us a little bit of insight.
Lovely to see you.
We'll see you in the chat and on the next call. Okay.
Cool. See you later.
Yes, Krish.
Bye,
see you, mate.
We're actually going to Jackie's going to pop in pretty soon, and so Jackie runs like Vicky's.
That's right.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, the lifestyle studio. That's
exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll bring her right in.
They do such good work. Same with Krish. What up, Jackie?
Hey, Jackie, how are you?
Hey, yeah, that was like awesome timing talking about the lifestyle studio, and then I popped up.
See?
Exactly.
I mean,
not my first rodeo, mate. You know.
So good. Good to see you, Jackie.
Yeah, you good?
Doing great. Doing great. We were just
Awesome.
you're probably listening in and you're hearing us chat about this stuff. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what program you run?
Okay, so yeah, I'm Jackie. I'm not an affiliate owner, but I'm the head coach at MetFix Lifestyle Studio in Congleton. So yeah, we are MetFix based. We've been there about 9 months now. So yeah, we're predominantly for special populations. A lot of individuals that have never been to gyms before, very anxious about gyms, lots of different health complications, and we cater for all of them.
That's amazing. You attended the London seminar, the second one.
Yep.
I remember you asked a lot of great questions. It was awesome having you. And how long have you been a coach for at Lifestyle Studio, or just even in general, if it's a little bit younger?
So yeah, I've been a CrossFit coach for coming up 5 years now, and actually opened the Lifestyle Studio before it was the MetFix Lifestyle Studio. So we've been open. Oh yeah, there's me. Oh, powerlifting. Oh yeah, like powerlifting me. Yeah, so we opened the Lifestyle Studio as an aside from our CrossFit affiliate, because we'd got a few individuals that I'd been doing PTs for that just found CrossFit too scary. They didn't want to do the sport of CrossFit, and So we had the opportunity to get the building next door, and we started the lifestyle studio and haven't looked back, really.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm assuming that you've got some sort of nutrition element that built into the lifestyle studio.
Yeah, so even before we became an affiliate, nutrition's been one of the things that we've always had in some capacity, more or less, depending on sort of the coach and things like that. But it was a lot more basic in its approach, and a lot more individual as well. So we did do individual nutrition coaching and stuff like that. Whereas since we've had the affiliation, it has become sort of a much more integral part of every session. So, you know, when we're stretching at the end, we'll be talking about what people are going to be eating afterwards or what they've had before. But we actually have a weekly nutrition session now, which is just nutrition based, no physical activity at all, where we're really going through some cool things. So yesterday we did a great session on just carbs, and I'd gone out and bought loads of different things, and the group put them in the order of what they thought was highest carb to lowest carb. And there were some real surprises for some people in terms of what they thought actually was high and wasn't high, especially when it comes to some of things like veggies and fruits and stuff like that. But also, you know, it had a really good discussion going, and just things like going through all of the stuff around how food impacts our body, our moods, our joints. And we've had some absolutely amazing successes. So we've now had 2 people, one person who has gone from being pre-diabetic to non-pre-diabetic. We've had 2 people go into remission from type 2, and we've had 1 person come off their injectable insulin.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well
That's
done.
incredible.
Yeah. And, you know, when you see it working like that, and, you know, at the end of the day, no one's perfect. And, you know, one of the things we were doing in yesterday's group was just talking about what happens when life kicks in. And we do have things that we know might give us a spike or might set them cravings off again and things like that. So we were talking about things like reset meals and stuff like that. And, you know, knowing that those things are going to happen. So let's have the plan beforehand so that we can just kick into that when it does, because we know it will.
That's amazing. That sounds like a really fun and well thought out nutrition program.
Yeah, it's been good. We do a little monthly recipe booklet as well from the recipes from the MetFix site, and we just put them into a little booklet each month that all of the members that come to the nutrition class get a copy of. And yeah, members keep coming up now, giving us food, going, "I've tried this, eat this." So yeah, one of my members came in with the feta cheese whip this week. Yeah, I know it was very nice.
I haven't made that one. I need to make. I'm gonna write that down. I gotta get that.
Yeah, that one. And yeah, we've got another member who is absolutely adamant that the chicken arrabbiata is the best she's ever had. So yeah. We share stuff. People will bring in things to try. So I brought in a pizza one week. Other people have brought in like flaxseed bread, which has been made with no wheat flour at all and stuff like that. Although I will say tuna bread, don't do it.
Tuna bread.
Ooh,
that sounds,
yeah.
It sounds a bit off.
Yeah. Google it, don't do it.
Okay, sounds fishy to me.
Yeah, oh, come on now. What a bad joke.
Yeah, but no, but it's good.
That's amazing. And so, Jackie, I'll ask you a similar question I asked the others. You know, someone who's got as much experience as you have, and then also having a nutrition program before you guys found MetFix. What do you see as the biggest difference that the MetFix education has provided you as a coach, and then also to your program in terms of potentially the results that you're seeing?
I think confidence, definitely, because a lot of stuff, even if you semi-know it, it's having the confidence and also the resources there that you can go back to and just keep, you know, if you've got a member who's struggling with a particular thing, there is a resource for it. Or if there isn't one you can find, there's other affiliates and stuff like that you can chat to and go, I've got this. Have you had any experience of it? And that itself has worked out, you know, really, really good. So yeah, that's been great. Obviously, because we'd already got bits, we didn't start with the Spark program. But saying that, although we haven't used the Spark program as the 4-week program, we have dipped in and out of it because there's some great resources there for actually doing the sessions. So it's stuff that I've used in the sessions without actually using it as the 4-week. But yeah, I think that's the big thing, is having that real science-based knowledge behind it, then having the resources to back it up, and also the support of the people around that you can just reach out to.
Yeah, that's huge. And then finally, Jackie, before I let you go, I know it's late over there, so I don't want to keep you up all night. What was the most surprising thing that you found about the course? Like Krish, with a bit of a knowledge base, and then obviously Vicky, you know, becoming the MetFix affiliate ahead of time, you had some exposure to it. You had, you know, I'm sure you went through the extensions course ahead of time as well. I touched on that a little bit. So you get this ramp up to what's to be expected at the course. Was there anything surprising when you first heard it, or it was presented to you that you walked away from?
I think the inclusionness of it, and not just for the people that we're trying to support, but actually for everyone who was there. So there was just like a really wide variety of people, some with a lot more experience than others. But the course itself was done in a way where it didn't matter how much experience you had before you went, you would come out learning something new. You know, we had people on it with medical degrees and things like that, and they still came out understanding nutrition and everything around it more than they had done. So I think that was something that was not necessarily surprising, but a real highlight. You know, I count myself as special population anyway. So the fact that the course itself is able to be done by people that do have issues themselves, that's itself is great.
That's amazing. Thanks so much for sharing that. That's huge. Carl, you got any questions for Jackie before we let her go?
No, I just think it was great having you on board. Like, you were a massive highlight on the course that we ran because of your experience. So I was always digging into that knowledge base, you know, like I really saw you come into your own when we looked at the scaling for special populations drill. You know, it was like I could see, it was like, right, stand by, everybody, like, get out my way, I'm going to show you how to do this thing. It was really, that was a highlight for me watching your work. So,
yeah.
Well, you know, I'm available for others, it's fine.
Put you on a retainer, my friend, you know.
Yeah.
That's secretly why we brought you into the group chat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I know. It was good.
Thank you so much for your time, Jackie, and we'll catch you in the group chat.
Yes.
All right.
Looking forward to collaborating on more things.
Thanks, mate.
See you soon.
Bye, Jackie.
Bye.
Oh, she's awesome. Both those guys are great.
Yeah, that program's awesome as well. And like genuinely, she was awesome on that course. Like,
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah,
you could definitely
seriously.
see that practical application piece. Like it was like, yeah, posing the questions to a group, challenging them, but also giving them the benefits of their perspectives was, yeah, it was super cool, man. It's great. You learn as much as you provide on those courses, you know?
I know. Look, I'm missing some of the comments here. I'm pulling them up. A lot of us were, this is Matt Miller. A lot of us were stepping over dollars to pick up pennies until we were forced to respect nutrition. Well said.
Yeah, 100%.
MetFix definitely gives the tools. Hollis is stoked on Jackie and Krish.
Yeah.
This is the here's the 5 a.m. squat club gentleman I was talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, that's in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. 5 a.m. is like middle of the day for me, so that's
That's
fine.
yeah,
I could
exactly.
probably
Yeah.
make
That's
that.
10 a.m. for you. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
live in the dream.
That's gold. That's gold. That's so I mean, some of the stuff they're talking about, it just reminds me of the course, the direction that it's headed. I mean, like, you know, we'd be stupid not to take feedback and make, you know, changes to the course to make it continuously better. This is the MetFix idea started because I think collectively we all recognize that there's a hole to fill. There's a need for it.
Yep.
Without necessarily knowing exactly how to fill the hole or fill the gap, right?
Yeah, just kind of throw stuff.
We just knew that it needed filling.
Yep, agreed.
And then it's, hey, let's get down to work and start seeing what we can provide the community. So in 2025, we had some practical elements to the course, such as scaling for special populations. You know, our view on scaling is like, hey, if you've got the tools, you be the best coach in the world. If you've got the tools to serve the people on the fit side of this sick, well, fit continuum. But then if you combine that with the other side of the bracket, and you can scale a workout down and a movement down to its absolute rudimentary movement patterns with the least amount of intensity possible for someone who is elderly and frail and close to 98 years old, or maybe is going through chemotherapy, or maybe they've got 150 pounds to lose and they have a hard time standing up for a long time. If you can scale to that degree, then you're going to be good to go for everyone else in the middle.
Yep. That's right.
So that's kind of the approach we're taking, right? And so that's been something we wanted to lean into from the beginning, and we kind of had those practical breakouts to teach coaches how to do that. But then the side of it that taken us a bit of time to workshop, because I think this also, just for the community in general, and Greg always talked about this, is like trying to solve the problem of nutrition coaching. Like, what's the best way to go about actually coaching? It's one thing to have the knowledge, which we're definitely providing, is that knowledge base, it's the cellular and biochemical backing and how the body works when it digests food. But then how do you take that and actually apply it?
Yeah, but I think that's the evolution has been huge too, right? Because as it should be, in my opinion, and how we're doing it is right. Here's the body of knowledge. Now I'm going to give it to talented, motivated individuals, and like pose the question of like, well, how would you implement it? Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Because
right.
off of that, you're going to find even there you would have like, you know, how Krish is doing a nutrition program, how Jackie and Vicky is doing the nutrition program, how other affiliates are doing the program. You'll see similarities, but you will also see it tweaked and adjusted and perhaps massaged out in a timeline, or maybe condensed, depending on what they need from their affiliates. And it's great because each of those are a successful model, a way to achieve the end result, right? Which is lifestyle change, more attention to nutrition, etc. Because we're already assuming that if they're in that world, the physicality piece is kind of taken care of. We're not having to necessarily introduce that as hard. Generally. So
exactly.
that becomes like 4 or 5 working models that we're not saying, hey, this is the MetFix way. It's like, oh, it's a way, you know, like the methodology is the methodology, much like we're used to with CrossFit, right? It's like, but you're going to get different flavors, aren't you? You're going to get different ways of application which work for demographics, personality types, etc. And I think that's super cool, because we're not just doubling down on this is the way. We're like, well, we don't know, like here's the information, go do it, and then tell us how you're doing it. So it's then we can actually bring that to more people and take the best practice.
It's funny you bring that up. I saw a post from, who was it? Someone popular at the who's the guy who does for CrossFit Games? He does the announcing, and he won the games at one point on a team, and he's on staff.
Adrian Conway.
He made a post recently about CrossFit and how it's lost its like experimental magic.
Oh yeah, just kind of play almost.
Yeah, like the play, like like when how did we land on an hour class was like one of the things, right? You know what I mean? Like how did we land on like skill and Metcon and blah blah blah. And so it was like in those early days, it was a huge experiment in terms of how you're gonna see it unfold inside the gym, and that's exactly what you just described. Right.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think that's huge, because we've got like, that's what actually MetFix has allowed me to do in application, right? Is, it can look what you want it to do. There's an expectation, when I was coaching CrossFit classes regularly, there was an expectation that it was from minute 0 to minute 60. It was all physical, like very rarely would it be, because you're even, the way that we were taught on the seminar staff at the time and all this thing was like, 2-minute whiteboard maximum, then you should have people moving, like people didn't pay to listen to you gob off, like get them moving. So it was very rare that you'd kind of spend that time doing it. But then what MetFix allows you to do, because people were like, what's MetFix, which is probably the top 2 questions you get, right? What is MetFix and how do I do it are probably the two like $1 million questions that we get. And so the how do we do it piece is great. Is like then it means your hour, even if it is an hour, can look like whatever you want it to do, because there's no expectation. People are coming in, and if they're in the program, they're like, well, I guess it could be what it needs to be, right?
I guess this is it. Yeah.
Whereas CrossFit's kind of like, now there is that expectation where people think that, oh, I know what a class looks like. Whereas with MetFix, they don't. So we're at that wonderful play stage again, where we can make it what we need it to be. It could be an hour in the kitchen, like get the camp stoves out and teach people how to cook. It could be half an hour's worth of physical activity. It could be, like half an hour's worth of whiteboard. I mean, on a Monday at the campfire, Mondays is always strength and coffee. So I have a cutoff no matter what. If people are like sandbagging, like at 22 the hour, we work to the hour. If they're still working, that's it. You're done, because the coffee's coming out, and we're going to stand around and have a chat and a catch up. So I like that element of play. We need to get that back, I think, because that's where the experiments come from, and that's where that actually works a little better. Jive chat is good.
I totally agree. One thing that you and Krish touched on that is really profound to me is that MetFix has allowed you guys to have more difficult conversations with people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I think that like behavior change in terms of taking someone's like pathological behaviors, they've been eating in a way that is making them sick. They're not exercising. They're sitting on the couch, and shifting that behavior to something that's healthy.
Yep.
What it takes is a coach who knows how to coach them. What is coaching? Well, you're gonna start by talking to them. Yeah. You're gonna start by talking to them, and if you talk to them in the wrong way, they're gonna put up a wall.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so really, like, even at the movement level, coaching is just talking to people. That's what you're doing. Your feedback, it's cues, it's communication is what that is. And unfortunately with nutrition, the most difficult part about it is that you need to find a way to get them to coach themselves 23 hours of the day, or whatever it is that they're awake, right? Yep. They're not, another 7. So it's going to be like, 15, 14 hours of the day where they've got to coach themselves through the nutrition. It's not like you're there cutting up their food. I mean, maybe that is one of the experimental MetFix programs, is you walk into their house and you make all their food, and all, right? And you don't eat that, eat this. But it's not like coaching movement where you can give cues constantly as they're exercising.
No, exactly.
So you need empathy. You need to care enough and have the knowledge and be able to motivate. And I that's the next evolution of the course. I explained to you a little bit as we were prepping for the upcoming course in Portsmouth. I'm really pumped for you to see some of these breakout groups. But motivational interviewing is a skill set that's missing from coaches. Matt Miller was a huge influence in this. He's a 30-year counselor, and I talked to my wife about this. She's a family physician here in Canada, and she in medical school was trained in motivational interviewing and the same techniques that we're going to be coaching MetFix coaches through.
Awesome.
To give them tools and a framework on how to break down, how to talk to people, right? Because I think even like Greg and all the great coaches, they take for granted that it comes naturally for them to have a conversation that creates intrinsic motivation for a client.
Yep.
Right. All the best coaches, they create a sense of self-efficacy, right?
Yep.
And what that is you walk away after talking to your coach, you walk away with a belief that you can reach your goals, right?
Totally.
And wouldn't it be great if there's a framework to teach coaches how to have those conversations?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's connections. It's how do you have, you're earning that trust, aren't you? Like, I think the more that you get in the coaching game, that I have to earn the trust of the person in front of you. It's not you wear coach on the back of your t-shirt and everyone's going to do as they're told, as an example, like I'm just going to come around and be like the dictator around the gym. It's like, no, I've got to earn the respect every day. I've got to earn the trust of this person every day. And it's a long time to earn and very, very fast to lose, in terms of trust with people. So that daily thing always in my mind is kind of like this. It's going to be my next tattoo. I'm going to get it on my neck. You heard it here first. But like this concept of zero, right? You start at zero every day. I'm a big believer in it. Just, you have to earn everything every day. And I think that's the same with trust. It doesn't matter, credentials from a coaching perspective. Like, if I'm being honest, no one really gives a shit. That might be the initial push across a line, but no one really cares how many letters are after your name. It's more about the impact that you can have in that time you have with them, the self-efficacy that you can give that individual. And just like Jackie was saying, like having those ideas of like, you relapse meal. I don't think that was quite what the phrase she used, but the get back on the wagon kind of
right
meals. I think those are realistic. If you're coming at it like, I'm perfect and I've never had, an ounce of sugar in my life or all this kind of stuff is, I mean, come on now. We know that stuff's addictive. Why do we know it? Because we have kids. I mean, anybody who wants to tell me sugar ain't addictive, I'm like, Roger that. You want to spend some time with some kids and tell me that. But
go to a birthday party. Yeah,
man. But I think it's that awareness, and I think that's why I like, when Krish we were talking to earlier in the week, she was saying how they try to do it almost like a year program and that's only just in terms of support, because if you hit a year, you kind of hit the ebbs and flows of life, right? Going on holiday and then trying to get back in the mix of things, after Christmas where you've been with the family and, trying to get back in the mix again and get on the straight and narrow. Like, you're going to go over like a calendar year. The likelihood is you're going to have to navigate some peaks and troughs in life. And I think that's great if you've got a support network of folk or a coach or whatever that looks like to help you manage that. It's not the when things are great, it's like, I was chatting to my kids about this today, because they're always like, it's all right for you, Dad, you like training. And I'm like, when have I ever given you the impression that I like training? I mean, most of the time I like training, but more often than not, I have to drag myself kicking and screaming mentally into the gym to do something. Do you know what I mean? When I'm doing it, I'm good, but come on now, like, motivation's so fleeting. And so that's just the perspective from your point of view, right, kids? So I think it's crucial that they just know, like, well, what are those mechanisms that you've got that just mean that, you can sort things out or avoid the relapses, or if you do, then, you're one meal away from putting it right. What does that look like? What are your staples? What are your easy things to do? So there's all of these things that you learn through time and application, which I think is definitely necessary to get out there. And motivational interviewing is huge, because that's not a skill set I have. You know, I'm super interested in that. I'm very much straight down the line kind of shooter, so which can work sometimes, but you know, it's
one tool.
Yeah, it's not going to appeal to everybody, right? Like,
yeah.
So I totally know that that's going to be, for me, selfishly, again, another evolution, another skill that I can then implement to help others better. So yeah, I'm stoked to see how those go down, man. It's excited me selfishly again as a trainer, because I kind of felt like I'd completed the other side, the technician piece, you know, like, yeah, I can run a good class. You could probably drop me into any class and I'd be all right. You know, I'd do okay at the old teaching, seeing, correcting, managing the group, and presence and attitude. I'm all right there with all of those factors. But this stuff, it genuinely challenges me. It genuinely excites me, and it makes me better at helping others. So super stoked. And I feel like everybody needs to have this in their lives, you know, trainers, because it's the hard stuff, you know, meaningful stuff.
Totally. So what are you going to, so for all those people thinking of coming to the course, what they're going to walk away with, this is when you're a MetFix coach, this is what you are. You're backed with the knowledge of the biochemistry of nutrition and the etiology of chronic disease. You understand at a fundamental level how the food that goes into your mouth affects your health outcomes. Exactly. That's the base. Then what do you have? You've got what we were just talking about. You've got nutrition coaching skills.
Yeah, you got tools.
You got tools to take it to the practical application, right?
Yep.
Analyzing food logs from the basics of that all the way to what we were just talking about, which is building motivational interviewing skills. Yep. So that's incredible. And then you've got the scaling piece too, so that you bring in that Trojan horse component of movement, and you can introduce people who have never even heard of a squat, and you can begin to get them moving at a super basic level and start making that change. So I think this is really powerful stuff. I'm stoked to come to Portsmouth. I'm really excited to see you and Thorpe and Paul in person again. It's going to be great.
Yeah, man, it's going to be great. And I mean, it's needed. You know, this has been a missing link for a long time. You know, we solved the physical equation years ago. Yep. You know, like, and there's all more power to people who are still in that world, you know, and think that's the kind of the tip of the spear, but this is almost like uncovering a whole other spear. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I love it. So we'll end it there. Thanks for coming, Carl. Anyone who's thinking of coming to the course, you can hit up www.metfix.org. You're going to find all the information there, the date, the sign up, all that. If you've got any questions, you can hit either one of us up. My email is peter@metfix.org. Carl's is Carl with a K, Karl @metfix.org. And we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks, guys, for coming. Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the next course.